Welcome to Chinwag with the Horsemen. I'm Andrew.
I'm Mayberry.
I'm James.
And I'm Casey.
Thank you for listening to us. We appreciate you tuning in. We want to remind you to like, share, subscribe to the podcast. And a new thing, you can check us out on YouTube. Casey has set up a YouTube for us. Casey, tell us about that YouTube.
Okay, so we've got a YouTube channel now. It's got just a video with a voiceover of our podcast episodes. I think we're going to release our episodes on YouTube like maybe a week after they release on the apps, on the podcasting apps. And we have some ideas for maybe doing some videos on there in the future. So check out our YouTube channel for some exciting stuff.
The nudity will be tasteful, we promise. We also want to remind you that we have the email address set up. James, you want to tell us about the email address?
Reach out to us. Let us know what you guys would be interested in us talking about on the podcast or potentially seeing on the YouTube channel. And again, that is chinwagwithhorsemen@gmail.com.
That's great. And we really need to hear from you because as much as it may sound like we have an unlimited supply of stories and awesome adventures in our lives will tell you that it's really the same ones told over and over and over. So we could use some topics here and there, and we'd be happy to answer questions and so forth as well. So tonight we've got a few topics. We wanted to discuss one particular substitute teacher, and I only had him a couple of times. So I'm going to let Casey and James, because I think he do something with y'all in middle school, like y'all built an airplane or so. Wasn't there something like that? This particular gentleman.
Yeah, he was like a long-term substitute for a teacher that went out on like maternity leave or something. But yeah, we were in like an English class and it like spurned into, I can build a remote control plane. Do you guys want to watch me build this plane? And it was very weird. But of course we called the teacher Wild Bill. I'm not even certain his name was Bill, but yeah, we called him Wild Bill. He always had clear coffee in the mornings. That is something he always had with him, and it was just pure insanity whenever he was in there because he would look at the lesson plan and go, "Ha!" and you knew you weren't ever going to learn whatever subject he was teaching.
Oh yeah, he was like the best substitute teacher. He was I don't know, just he kept you in line. What did he say whenever he come to class? He said, "I don't care what Billy Joe or Bobby Sue says when they're your teacher. Today I'm your teacher." I don't know.
That was one of his 3 rules. He had 2 others. Yeah. Remember his 2 other rules?
What were his 2 other rules?
He would say the same thing. He would go, "My name is Bill. You can call me Wild Bill. You can call me Mr. Bill. Let's see, what did he say? I've been called everything under the book. You can't call me something I've not heard," something like that. And then he'd say, "I got 3 rules. Number 1, don't lie me," which was his way of saying, tell him the truth. Don't lie me. Number 2, I don't care what Billy Joe or Bobby Sue said when they're your teacher. As Casey eloquently explained, today Wild Bill was your teacher. And number 3 harkens to his clear coffee. He would say, "I'm going to sit over here and drink my coffee. Don't worry about what's in it. I'll be drinking this. Y'all do what you got to do," or something like that. He was an unconventional teacher, undoubtedly.
Now, when it came to high school, he because he was a little bit older then, he would, at least if they planned something, it was a movie. He would show the movie, and by about 3rd period, he would be like head down on the desk because of his coffee. Because he would be already like on his like 3rd little coffee thermos thing. And I'm pretty sure he almost died one day because like he just was snoring and then quit snoring. Because I had him for English too. My teacher was out and he was out, and I had him for 3rd period, and we walked in and his head was down. The movie was like gone off and was like running the FBI warning, and he was just like dead to the wall. And we was like, can somebody help us? I think our substitute teacher's dead.
Wild
They
Bill's
came
down in
to-
here.
But the best thing is he woke up and goes, "Who took my clear coffee? You drunk it, sir. Well, watch this movie, children."
I wonder if subconsciously we refer to coffee, certain things as coffee, as maybe a subconscious tribute to Wild Bill. Like maybe he was that influential in our lives.
Maybe you're right. Maybe so.
I don't know. Could be. Their substitute now. They've really only got one with the late pandemic happening. They've only been able to really keep one substitute, and it's a man that we know that we also know very well. I'm just going to call him Bob. Do you guys remember Bob at Walmart?
You mean Walmart Bob of I'm not allowed to work the sportsman section anymore because I sold cases of shotgun shells to people for $3
That's him.
a case.
That's him. Now,
Yeah.
James, I'll tell the first part of this, and we'll let Casey finish it because I think Casey's the one who really discovered the the error. James had to buy a trigger lock, wasn't it, James?
Yeah, I was buying a trigger lock. Gun safety, that is a paramount thing if you're a responsible gun owner.
Yeah. So we went to our local Walmart to, because when one of us has to buy something, we would all go because, why not? So we went to our local Walmart and the three of us were kind of perusing the offerings there. And Casey, what happened?
I guess it was late at night. I don't know if they were stalking or what, but we walked by some shotgun shells and it said, there's a sign out, said like whatever, $3. Or like $3 for this whole case of shotgun shells. There's like, hundreds of shotgun shells in here or whatever. And we totally bought those. Old Bob, we're like, is this right? He's like, oh yeah, that's what the price says. So old Bob sold us these shotgun shells.
We walked out with like a pallet of shotgun shells.
I'm going to.
I think they
only spent like $28
because
they hadn't finished
as
unloading
usual,
the.
Casey's storytelling skills. We got to work on them. I don't know if you're forgetting
they lack
details or what, but so Casey finds this box. It's a pretty large box of shotgun shells, and the price, like he said, the price is like $3. So we take it to one of the old. I don't know if they even still have them, but on the columns in Walmart, you used to be able to scan items to see the price. We took it to one of those and we scanned the barcode on the box, and it came up $3. So then Casey took it to Bob, working the sporting goods counter, and asked him if that was correct. Bob scanned it, and he said, yeah. He said, it's coming up $3. And he said, you'd be stupid not to buy this. So we each bought several cases.
Not all of them, Bob.
And
tell us all your shotgun shells.
We got out to the car, and we opened the box, and it was tons of smaller boxes of shotgun shells. So what had happened is whoever stocked that shelf did not. They just put the stock box on the shelf. They didn't open it and actually stock the shelf. So their laziness was our gain. So
No, I think they set those out so they could be stocked by whoever was working that counter.
Yes.
I think I remember Bob saying, I think the boys just saved me some time on stocking.
He said something like that, didn't he?
He made Bob's life easier, and he made our life better.
It's like we walked out with three of these boxes, and I think he put one behind the counter for himself.
That's right.
He was going to a Tucky shoot on Saturday and needed some rounds.
So not long after that, I happen to know I worked at that Walmart not long after, and not long after I started, Bob was no longer working, and I have to think that part of that might have been us buying all those. I mean, I'm sure he did not get a glowing review. Imagine how happy they initially were because they were like, Bob, you sold our entire inventory of shotgun shells. Wow, we've probably made hundreds of dollars tonight. And then they get to the actual inventory and it's Wah, wah, wah.
It's $9.
It's $9. So they've lost so much
like $10 or $11. I didn't even own a shotgun at the time, but was buying ammo because it was a stupid good deal.
He's their only sub now. I see him from time to time, and I think about asking if he remembers selling all those shotgun shells to
I don't know if I'd bring it up because he might. That might be the reason why he got fired. You know, he might have loved his job, and we rooted for him.
He does recognize me though.
I didn't fail to stock the shelves. He did. I didn't get him fired.
Yeah, that's a failure on his behalf. Other silly things from Walmart. You remember when we used to go to Walmart, and this is totally how it always was. One of us needed an item, all four of us went to Walmart, and we would goat each other into buying just a random knickknack that as soon as you got to the register and bought it, you immediately felt buyer's remorse. Like, I did not need this novelty CD of Irish drinking songs.
I don't think I have that anymore, but I ended up with that, and I ended up with a novelty Halloween song CD from one of those times. I don't think.
Do I really need this? Yeah, you need it. Everybody's going to egg you on until you buy it.
This was.
I ended up with like a do-rag and I think one of those like fluorescent orange like construction worker vest because of that kind of stuff.
This was not a time when any of us had, just extra cash laying around.
We made like $6 an hour working at the whatever, so it didn't.
My problem was GameStop.
Oh, we know that was your problem.
So this Walmart was really close to our Waffle House where we go for pie night. So we'd go there pretty often after we got off work to the Walmart. So there's all kinds of Walmart stories too.
We were walking into Walmart one night, and there was this lady having a very heated like phone conversation, and I have no clue who she's talking to on the other end. But we were walking kind of in a sort of diamond pattern kind of look. This woman splits all four of us and makes the statement as she's walking by us, "I don't care about going back to prison." So we were like, oh, well, it looks like somebody's going to get killed if she can find them.
She wasn't messing around.
Walmart.
She had no problem going back to prison at all.
Well, I wonder, did she go into like Walmart looking for like rope, shovels, and like a top?
Probably a hatchet too.
Probably. I don't know. Walmart had everything, and it seemed like the only time we were ever in there was between the hours of midnight and 4 a.m. was when we were in there wandering around Walmart. And you see a lot of strange stuff. I remember one night we were wandering around Walmart, and all of a sudden there was this little kid that just appeared at the end of the aisle and then vanished. And I was like, did anybody else see that little kid? And of course, the three of you guys were like,
No.
What kid are you talking about?
You're talking about?
Well, but we also hung out in the toy section of Walmart because we would randomly pick up like Captain America's shield or Thor's hammer and beat each other with them.
There's some epic battles.
There's a great picture of me and Barry and Casey. James was working a summer camp, I guess. I don't know. Anytime James isn't around or in something, I assume he was working a summer camp. But we're wearing some pretty awesome superhero masks.
I think I took the picture of you guys in that superhero mask.
It looks like a selfie. Maybe you did take it, but it looks like a selfie. You would have worn one. You would have found a Iron Man or something. You would have worn one, I feel like.
would have worn one.
Yeah.
I don't think they had, because like I think he was Wolverine, Andrew. I was Thor, and I think Casey found like the smallest Captain America's mask.
Man, how there's some weird people at Walmart, but maybe we're the weird people that go to Walmart.
Well, yes, Casey, we already knew this.
Did you guys ever see the people of Walmart, that web page?
Yeah, used to you can narrow it down to a certain Walmart, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Really?
It was always very weird.
You could go and find your local Walmart and see what kind of crazy stuff they got into.
Oh yeah, I could look up some of these Kentucky Walmarts around where I live, and
is it on your page or is it on
interesting things.
the fan page?
I think it was on mine. For those of you listening, I'm trying to find this epic picture of us in superhero masks. So bear with me. Guys, just ignore all the nudes.
Oh, man. So
On your Facebook page.
This is unrelated, but this is a picture of my great aunt at my wedding, or at my cousin Hannah's wedding, dancing Gangnam Style.
Really? That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. She's still alive.
It really is.
It's impressive that she was dancing that, but do we want to say that it was impressive that she knew Gangnam Style?
I think she was just more or less following the leader there. Wow. And of course, our old boss. So I'm dressed as Wolverine. And our old boss says, wow, Wolverine really let himself go.
Bub. Ah!
Oh, you gotta love it.
Wow.
I just like that. Like, literally, like you felt like the puppet-sized Wolverine mask.
What?
Casey's down like where it fits your face. Like mine looks like I just like crammed it on my head.
Well, you do have a 15-gallon head, so that's understandable.
Okay, wait.
Wearing a Thor helmet.
Casey is the champ on the biggest head in our group.
True. In his baby book, it did have his head like listed in inches instead of like centimeters, and it was like 97 inches or something.
You know, you've got some good friends when they've seen your baby book and your head circumference size, and they remember it.
Well, I'm pretty sure they like. When did we see that? Was that?
I don't know. Well, we were cleaning out my grandparents' house after they passed away, I guess, and we had there was all kinds of random stuff in there.
Yeah, that's when we used to rock out to Blueberry Hills.
Oh yeah,
I found my thrills.
Casey was at the time thinking about renting this house, and we were helping him clean it out. And there were pictures of Casey everywhere from every era of Casey. There was like this giant picture of him as a little kid. So we were telling him he should really just keep these pictures down here for when he rents the house, and you know, have them have the pictures of himself creepily throughout the house that he's renting.
That'll be a condition of the rent. You have to leave the pictures up. Don't touch them.
Just remember, I'm keeping my eye on you.
Yeah, remember, I'm watching you.
So
Don't do anything that you wouldn't do if I wasn't standing here watching.
No.
I remember in the process of you trying to clean that house out, you were doing like minor electrical like repair or trying to figure out how to do stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm not.
So we had trips to Lowe's, and I remember when the new Lowe's opened up close to our Waffle House that we'd always go to. I made the unfortunate mistake of wearing a blue shirt and khaki shorts to go into this Lowe's. And we're walking around looking at stuff, and this lady comes up to me and is like, "Excuse me, sir, like I work there." And she's like, "Could you help me find the little shower things for my shower door?" And I was like, I guess so. And of course, you two knuckleheads run off and leave me with this like person who's like treat me like I work there. So I'm walking back towards the plumbing section because I figured she said something about a shower door. That's where they've got to be. And I see this random person who actually works at Lowe's. And I was like, Sarah here can help you out. And I explained to her what she's looking for. And then I literally run away as quick as I possibly can to try to find you guys. And I'm like, we have to leave. I don't work here. People keep asking me for help.
Well,
You did the right thing
about people.
That little old lady.
Well, I just gotta say, one time at another shopping center out in the town where the Lowe's is called Roses. I walked in with a collar shirt on that was like a brown shirt, and a woman walked up to me and goes, "Son, I noticed that you work here." And I'm like, "How do I work at Roses? They are wearing red shirts. I have a brown shirt on." And she goes, "Can you just come help me find this TV that I bought and I put on layaway here?" No, ma'am. I cannot wander into the back office to get you your TV that you might have paid for.
You were the regional.
We need to quit dressing like we work at these places. Regional manager.
Yeah,
I like
wear brown.
I need to quit going to Lowe's. That is what I need to do. Me and my wife were down in Cotton Squalor, and for avid listeners, you will hear more about Cotton Squalor, and we might actually shoot a YouTube video stuff when we're down there on a Horseman outing, possible. But we're down there working on a project for my in-laws, and I'm like, we're discussing like bricks and stuff for a fireplace that my wife wanted to build down there, or fire pit outdoors. And this lady comes over to my wife and looks at her and goes, when you're done with him, can he help me pick out lattice? And my wife goes, he's my husband. He doesn't work here. Those people up front are the ones that you need wearing the vest, not him. And she just got this really like sad, defeated look on her face, like, oh, I've got to rely on these morons to help me pick out lattice. So long story short, 15 minutes later, after I helped this lady pick out the proper lattice for her deck and told her how to install it and loaded it in her vehicle, I was able to go back to helping my wife with the project we originally started.
Did you get a good tip at least?
No.
That's unfortunate.
Okay. Talking about people mistaking you for something. Have you guys ever been with me when somebody thinks I'm from a foreign country?
Yeah. Austria is the one you get a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Australia.
So, but you listeners, I might sound different than the other people on this podcast. I have a thing called a speech impairment. And for me, I can't pronounce certain words, which in my years with these guys has not ever got me into some kind of trouble, because they always would make fun of me with some certain words I couldn't say, like jacuzzi, and stuff like that. So I also sound a little bit like I'm from a foreign country. And so talking about this new Lowe's. So I go with another one of our friends, and he has never been with me when somebody argues with me that I'm from a different country. And so we trying to check out. This woman says, so where are you from? You don't sound like you're from around here. No, I just live across in the neighboring city, or the neighboring county.
That's where people get mixed up, is the neighboring country. That's where you really throw them.
I know. It's horrible. But in the neighboring county, and the woman goes, no, you don't. You live somewhere else. Tell me where you live. And like, I'm not even buying something. And my friend's like, here, ma'am, can we just pay? I really got to go and finish up what I was doing. And she goes, no, I ain't accepting your money until your friend tells me where he's from. And so now I'm in an argument with this woman from Lowe's that, yes, ma'am, I am from the neighboring county, not from this foreign country that you think I'm from. And my friend's with me going, he is. I have known him for so many years. He is from the neighboring county. Could you please take my money so we can leave?
Man, she was just wanting your number. You should have been like, I'll tell you if you give me your phone number.
Well, she was also 50, Casey.
Oh, never mind.
Them cougars need love too, Barry.
Could be a cougar hunter.
I'm all right. Well, one of my former bosses at one of the former jobs I had always told me elderly ladies really like you and all the underage girls like you. I'm like, thanks. I don't think I want you to be telling me this.
That's how you could end up on a list.
Yeah, go with the elderly ladies, Barry.
Well, she was also up into her, 40s, so it was kind of strange when she was
dropping a hint to you.
Yeah. Everybody wants
ladies
to slice that Barry.
Lady in her 40s.
Let me tell you, I don't work for that job no more.
Everybody wants a slice of A-berry.
Everybody wants them a piece. A-berry.
But I'm sorry that we got off on this topic of where in the war A-berry lives. Or is from. But I just thought you would like to know that I got in an argument at Lowe's over what country I live in.
Yeah.
And as it turns out, Avery was right. He did, in fact, grow up in the county he says. He's correct.
Or did he?
I've known him.
Or am I a transplant from Australia or Austria?
I mean, I've known him since I was like a little kid. So
Or
I don't
South.
know.
I tell you though, one of the craziest one I got was South Africa.
You could be the bad guy in Lethal Weapon 3.
Oh,
Was he
Lethal
from South
Weapon
Africa?
2 was the Cougar
Lethal Weapon
Ants.
2 with South Africa, yeah. South
Yeah.
Africa.
But yeah, that's one of the craziest ones I got. Like I get Australia, and I get sometimes I get England. I don't think I sound that way, but
Well,
It's just-
while we're at it, James, would you like to tell what the medical consensus is about why Barry has a speech impediment?
Okay, look, there's no correlation to this. None at all. All right. I was practicing swinging an aluminum bat because I was 5 at the time. And
age.
Avery just happened to decide to be standing up about the time I was following through, and I dinged him right in the middle of his forehead with this aluminum bat. He still has a lump right in the middle of his forehead.
Dang.
That has nothing to do with it. No medical correlation at all. I did not give him a speech impediment.
I'll just say,
Mostly.
He did.
I'll just say,
Avery.
I have seen James hit Barry in the head with various objects over the years, and it doesn't seem to affect it much, if at all. But
So that makes sense though, because me and my wife actually were just coaching a t-ball team, with these 5-year-olds swinging aluminum bats like crazy, trying to, knock each other out.
hang on a minute. Can we talk
They can be
about
pretty dangerous.
y'all coaching a t-ball team for a minute? I didn't know this was happening.
Oh, it's already passed. The season is over.
Who was the head coach?
You know what?
Lauren.
It was weird because me and Lauren were coaches, and then some other people were like, "Oh, we wanted to coach," so we ended up with 4 coaches on this team, which it worked pretty good.
Who was the first
'Cause I-
base coach? Somebody over on third? Like, are you guys giving signs? Like,
Oh no, we
I
were.
touched my
We
belt
had
buckle and my hat. That means bunt. Like, is that what you were doing with these kids?
some game. Well, they. This was like they missed t-ball last year because of COVID, so nobody really knew how to. We're just swing as many times as they could, hit the ball, and then run one base. Basically, is how they did it. But yeah, we'd have somebody on third, somebody on first.
No, wait. Who was the
Somebody
hitting
else.
coach?
Me and there was another guy. We would kind of alternate.
Oh, okay, so then who was the pitching coach?
Pitch. We didn't pitch.
It's
There's
a T-ball.
Tee.
Well, I mean, okay. So who was the person who told the kid to stand in front of the tee and not get hit with the ball?
Oh, we just told him to stand out there, catch the ball.
Was it a
At
pitching
some
machine?
points- No, it's just a tee. Like we just had a little tee. But sometimes, we were all 4 working adults. So sometime a game or two, my wife was the only one able to make it. So she was coaching these whole bunch of kids by herself. But
Did they
it was a
win,
lot of
did they
fun.
win those games? Okay.
well, it's t-ball. So
Oh, wait, sorry. We live in
Tie.
a time where everybody gets a participation trophy.
we did have a few games where we let them run the bases until they got tagged. That was a lot of fun for some of the older kids.
We're just going to throw out the unwritten rules of baseball of like, you only advance when you need to just mass chaos. We're playing tag now.
We're tagging it now.
These
Go.
are children.
Oh, they had a lot of fun.
Good. That's the important thing. Did you have a winning season or a losing season?
Well, it was, they didn't keep score. They don't keep score in T-ball. At least they don't up here. So there's no win or lose. I guess everybody wins. It's the ultimate sport, Andrew.
That's not
One of my many jobs that I've had, I was a youth league soccer ref, and I loved doing the little kids games, the ones that were like just learning how to play soccer, because it was only one official, so I was the only person getting paid, and you pretty much just drop the ball and all the kids run at the ball together, and they're like kicking at each other and stuff, and the ball's like halfway down the field, and there's just a massive scrum of kids kicking each other because they think the soccer ball's there. And then I would run and get the soccer ball, run back over there, just kind of toss it in the middle of all these kids. And that was pretty much how the games went. Like, these parents paid money to have their kids kick other kids and get kicked by kids for 30 minutes every Saturday morning.
I bet they had a fun time, though.
Oh, yeah, they had a lot of fun.
I feel like
let me.
If any of us needs to be some kind of sport official, Avery should definitely be a baseball umpire. He has that look about him.
He is. Man, I discovered my family's athletic prowess, when I was coaching this team, because it was our little, our 5-year-old's game, her team. So, man, she don't want to play anymore. But she just clams up. She does not want to. She did not want to hit the ball. I don't know. A lot of those kids really progress, though. They got better as the season went on.
Well, that coaching, that's where it's at. That's
it's coaching, man.
You got to be good at baseball to coach the kids along. Well, no, at least where the sweet spot of the bat is.
I don't even know which way to hold the bat, Avery. So,
well, we can't all have the athletic prowess of Dr. Hoops over there.
Yeah, Dr. Hoops.
That was basketball, not baseball.
Doesn't matter. Casey's going to be the coach of the Arizona Diamondbacks in a few weeks. Everybody, you've heard it here.
Yeah,
Casey to Arizona, new manager.
He's waiting on that.
Nice.
Waiting on that call any minute.
Yeah, waiting on the call to the show.
Well, so I'll be called up soon. Any day now. I'm just waiting on it.
Any day. Well, let's take a commercial break here, and when we come back, we'll continue on with talking about a few parking lot adventures. We talked about the woman in the Walmart parking lot, so we'll discuss a few other parking lot adventures, but right after this commercial break.
Push it, click it, press it, flick it, tune it in, turn it on. This is what you watch it on. Any way you work it, integrate your circuit at the city. Circuit City. Come to the place you're welcome.
Oh boy, Circuit City, 1990s America's playground. Excuse me, good sir.
Yes.
I was wondering if you could help me install a VHS player in my car.
No, you will most certainly die.
Wow, that's some great customer service. Thanks, Circuit City.
Circuit City. We won't let you install death machines.
Circuit City.
I'll go try Radio Shack.
Radio Shack.
You can see the new video directions. We can turn your car into an audio star. We're the one you want or the way you are. At Circuit City, trained sales counselors.
And we are back. Chinwag with the Horsemen. Thanks for sticking with us through that fine commercial break. We wanted to talk about a few parking lot kind of experiences we've had. So revealing a little bit here, and this is why you come to the Chinwag with the Horsemen, is to learn a little tidbits of our lives. Casey and I at one point worked for a drugstore in our hometown. We would make jokes about selling dope and and that kind of thing. So we were drug dealers, but after our shifts, I don't know, 75% of the time, 75 to 90% of the time after our shifts, James and Aberry would be waiting for us. So we would hang out in the parking lot of where we would work, and we had some really fun times hanging out in that parking lot. James, do you want to go over Parking Lot Mayhem?
All right, so everybody can play this if you're just in a parking lot with a closed down store. So we would sit there while, making jokes and laughing and carrying on as we did. We would also watch for the people coming into the parking lot, and we had a scoring system of the number of parking spaces to the door. If they parked like 8 spaces from the door, you only got like 5 points, and any closer points increase. If they got out of their car and went to the door, you got bonus points. And then if they tried to like commit a an act of B&E by like prying on the doors, you got the mega points right there. That was how you essentially won. And we would all take like stabs at trying to figure out if this person pulling into the parking lot was going to park, if they were going to get out of the car, if they were going to try to break into the business. So that is how you play Parking Lot Mayhem.
Now, do we have a rule about if they took up more than one parking space? Because
if they parked sideways, you kind of average the scores.
People come screeching in at the last minute, like 20 minutes after we're closed, screeching in. Maybe I can make it in time.
I'll leave 30 minutes after they close. Maybe I'll make it by closing time.
Well, you guys had those handicapped parking spaces right outside the thing, and they would like swab in there like parallel park, and they go, it's closed.
Sometimes we had a few people like pull in, pull up, get out, check the door, circle the building, and then pull over there to us and was like, are they closed? And we're like, no.
No, you're crazy. You just got to try to pry that door open.
He's absolutely not making it up. They would attempt to pry the door open as if it might be a door malfunction while nobody's in there.
And
all the lights are turned down.
Nobody's in there. So is Parking Lot Mayhem scoring? Was it like T-ball where everybody wins? Or I just remember we would randomly take points.
It was kind of like Whose Line Is It Anyways? For anybody that ever watched that fantastic show. The points were just strictly made up. And we just never really decided on a winner. It was just, here you go.
Man, we had a lot of fun, it was randomly hanging out in the parking lot.
It was to give us something to talk about while we also discussed things like the JFK assassination. And I remember we reenacted that one time in that parking lot with Aberry being JFK. And I was like, no, this is where he got shot, and pushing on places to see how Aberry would react. You know what I mean? Like back into the left. But, we had a lot of good times in that parking lot. Some weird times too. One of the guys we worked with, he was on a dating app, and one of his matches on this dating app would not leave him alone and would come to work and wait on him in the parking lot. Do you guys have any memories of that?
I vaguely remember you pointing out that she was there, but it was like few and far between me remembering that she was there. So
I'm trying to remember who the person was.
Well, suffice it to say, HD.
Did she come through the?
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Didn't she come through the drive-through one time? And me or Andrew or somebody, she's like, "Oh, you left your shoes at my house," or "I left my shoes at your house," or something.
No, that was oh my gosh. So that was a different time, but yeah, another one of his
women,
his liaisons called the store, and he was talking to him, and he said, "Yeah, you left your shoes at my house." And I thought, "Dadgum, what did he do to this woman?" Where she ran out of the house, left her,
ran down the road with no shoes on.
He was on Tinder before Tinder was real.
Oh my gosh.
He was on, I don't even know what it was he was on, but this particular woman who would wait in the parking lot for him he was not on board with her doing that. And do you remember, Casey? We would have to screen his calls after a while because she would call him, and I've heard him have to tell her a few times, "Please don't call here again."
Delete. Please don't call me. Oh yeah.
That's the dangers of dating apps. You get weird stalkers.
That's right, and he did. Yeah. She was waiting for him in the parking lot one time. Let me see what else. There was so many instances of just weird things happening in that parking lot, like really funny stuff.
Man,
James, go ahead, Casey.
I was just saying, it's acting a fool out in the parking lot at late at night, draw some attention from the local law enforcement. I would say.
Okay,
which
that
most
guy was
of
a
them
state
knew
trooper.
it.
No, he was local law enforcement. He was a town cop.
No.
Yeah, he was a town cop. So what they're referring to is one night we're hanging out in the parking lot, and I believe this was like one of the nights we had gone to eat and maybe have watched a movie or something, and we all would just meet there, load up in one car, and go because we're environmentally conscious like that, saving gas. And we got back, we're hanging out, still laughing and cutting up in the parking lot. In rolls this cop. He gets out of his car, comes like walking over to us like, hey, what are you guys doing? And of course, Casey and Andrew are like, well, we work here. We parked, went to town, watched the movie and stuff. We're wrapping up for the night. It's totally fine for us to be here. He's like, oh, cool. Turns to go get back to his car, turns back around and goes, hey, you guys have any warrants? We're like, nope. And he goes, all right, cool. Gets in his car and leaves.
I love that.
Just, that's I'm fairly certain that's not how police work should work.
I don't know. I feel like that may have worked for him before. Like if he's turned to walk away and then suddenly wheeled around and said, "You got any warrants?" Maybe somebody was like, "Yeah, man, I do." You know, I don't know. Maybe that had worked for him in the past.
You know, like a spontaneous utterance of like guilt. Yes.
Yeah.
Somebody takes off the room.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. When he left, we all went, well, you know, I did have that warrant thing down in Missouri that one time. I wonder if he was talking about one of those.
He didn't mean mass murder warrants or anything, right? That's not what he's talking about.
This being a small town, I feel like most of the police probably knew we would just hang out there all the time.
Well,
But he was probably new or something, I guess. I don't know.
Well, most of the cops in that small town knew me and James on first name basis.
You guys like lived in the middle of town.
Yeah, we lived in the middle of town, and we lived like 5 or 6 houses from a party house for the local educational center that's near the town. So yeah, on Fridays and Saturday nights, we would end up having the call because the party is getting a little too out of control and a little too outrageous. So yeah, so they knew us pretty well by then.
Well, they also knew me.
Are you guys talking about the local academic center of excellence that several of us in this group have just fond memories of, and
well,
a lot of time there.
Mine was pretty fun.
I mean, I only got in trouble there for giving fake tours, pretending to be an ambassador. So,
if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. That's the rule.
Well, I also want to point out that like one of the top cops now on his like first night duty in a small town, he met me, James, and 2 of our other friends. And he almost shot me and James.
Oh yeah, we were playing soccer over on the elementary school field, and it was getting pretty late at night. So somebody heard us like yelling and thought we were killing somebody. So we got like a whole town and county-wide like response. There were like police cars coming everywhere.
First responders,
and this officer comes flying in, and we're like loading up, getting ready to leave.
He passed us. He
goes by us, slams on brakes, squills them back, and then whips in there to us. Gets out. He's kind of like shaking, really nervous because there's 4 of us and there's just him, and he's like telling us, like giving us commands, and I'm like, hey, just like settle down, we'll talk, like
please take your hand off your gun.
Yeah, please don't like try to shoot us, like just stay calm. And then like 4 or 5 other cop cars show up, and he calmed down, and like we explained to him what was going on, and like some of the other cops got out and they were like, oh, it's just you guys, and everything was like hunky-dory. And they were like, some of the cops were making jokes about how we needed to just do like hand signals when playing soccer instead of like yelling at each other, so people wouldn't think we were murdering someone.
One cop said, the game has been postponed due to cop enforcement.
Yeah.
This was before soccer was well accepted in the United States. It was still, pretty rare to see in our area.
Yeah, it's the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Well, so lay on that next week, mine and James's father bumps into the cop and was talking to him about the incident. And he goes, well, yeah, I mean, at the academy, they tell you that the people will try to get you to take your hand off your gun so they can bum rush you and take you down and get your gun from you. And so me and James was like, nah, man, we was just wanting you to not shoot us, because out of the four of us, I was the biggest one, then James was the second biggest, and the other two would have been probably carrying the corner. And so we was more worried about our survival rate in that whole thing.
There's very few groups that Aberry can be a part of where he's not the biggest, where he doesn't always rank as the biggest.
Well, I'm only 6'4".
Only 6'4". Speaking of good police work, I'll tell a story, and I want to get Casey's reaction because it concerns him directly. One time so this was kind of unusual because typically Aberry and James were waiting for us when we got off work, but I think this particular night we had gotten off and James wasn't quite home yet or something. So we drove over to their place, and we were just parked in a parking lot across the road, and we saw a car pull up, which we thought was James. So we pulled down, and it turned out to be James and Aberry's sister. And so we didn't stop. We just went back into the parking lot. And, looking back, yeah, that seems sketchy. No doubt. That seems sketchy. So they called the police to check us out, see what we were doing. I should say, too, the parking lot we were in was like a doctor's office. So, for all they knew, we were robbing the doctor's office or something, So the police come, and one particular officer, who shall remain nameless, as we try to have most people nameless.
One second, Andrew. It's the same cop that almost shot me and James.
Oh, okay.
We could have been murdered.
That's good to know.
So let's just say, can we just call him Barney 5?
Yeah, we'll call him Barney. That's fine. So Barney comes up and gets our licenses, which is fine, whatever, because, again, no warrants or anything. And when he comes back, he hands me my license. And what does he do next, Casey?
I can't remember if he takes my license, and so my license somehow ended up snapped in half. He took it, broke it in half. I don't know if he ran it, brought it back and snapped in half, or snapped it in half and then ran it. But my license ended up broken in half. So I carried around a broken in half license for a while, for a few years probably.
Should we have taken that as a threat? Like, was that a subtle way of telling us, y'all better get out of here?
Maybe so. He did look me in the eye, like squint real hard, and then snap it in half, and then stomp it on the ground. So maybe that was a subtle hint to.
He drew his thumb across his neck like the Undertaker.
You guys don't belong here, boy.
And then he tased me, hog-tied me, threw me in the back of his car.
We never saw Casey again until tonight.
So James, as you've got some law enforcement background as a stripper who impersonates police
law enforcement.
Was that good police work out of him, or what could he have done differently?
I mean, from what I've watched on the videos that I peruse to get in character for my shows, yeah, sure, good police work there.
Seems legit.
That's the way you do it. You snap it in half, kind of work your hips a little bit, and then you go from there.
Oh my gosh!
Now I do gotta say, Bonnie Fife is probably one of the nicest cops in our small town.
He just feels guilty for almost shooting you that time.
I think so.
Speaking of
if he what?
If he would react at all, like if he would remember breaking your license in half.
Oh, I don't know. I'll have to give him grief about it. Like, you remember that time you snapped my license in half, and then like, here you go, bro.
Here's your snap license, brother. You guys have a nice day.
Casey has a bad track record of handing people stuff and ended up getting it returned to him, snapped in half. We were at Sonic one time eating ice cream, and Casey got like a sundae, but they gave him like the big giant spoon you would eat like a milkshake or something with. So Casey's got this really large spoon, and he's eating his ice cream, and Avery looks at him and goes, Casey, let me see your spoon. And Casey goes, no, you're going to break it. And Avery goes, no, I'm not. You can trust me. I'm Avery. So Casey hands him his spoon. Avery immediately snaps it as small as he possibly can and gives it back to Casey and goes, oops.
Oh, my gosh.
He doesn't
I'm
even break it in
using just the
half.
little-
He gets the spoon part.
Yeah, he
Just
just,
the
he
spoon
just
part
gets
was
the
all that we
convex
had.
part of the spoon.
That was it.
Oh, that's so
That was
funny.
it.
No, I did ask for another spoon. 'Cause I felt
20
so
minutes
bad.
later,
Yeah.
Hey, Barry, what
I'm
was your
weird.
thought process with that? I'll help.
Well, I was
my
gonna
buddy Casey.
break it in half so it'd be short for Casey.
Oh, man, do you guys remember we'd go to like Applebee's or something, and they would bring Avery a whole entire pitcher of tea and like connect a bunch of straws together so he could just drink
yeah,
the pitcher of drink.
Avery would drink
Oh.
places out of tea.
I don't
Oh, yeah.
see. James was never with us when we went to Applebee's.
Yeah, it was. I was there a
No.
couple of times.
You always was like on your summer camp trips.
When
You
we
guys
talk
act
about-
like it's so bad that I did summer camp stuff.
when we talk about summer camp, he was doing stripper training, stripper camp, learning how to be the best stripper that James could be.
In the greatest place on earth, Washington, D.C.
They probably have a lot of sex workers in Washington, D.C.
Probably do.
Let's talk about law enforcement and parking lots. Lets me combine the two in a story about another place I used to work. My first job was at a gas station in our local hometown there. And one evening, this was so I don't know if you guys remember Hurricane Katrina. It was kind of a big deal. Some of our listeners might be not born yet before Hurricane Katrina. This huge hurricane wiped out New Orleans and took out a lot of the gas production and so forth. And so gas was scarce. And we had a $20 limit on our pumps at this gas station that I worked at, this ancient gas station. And this guy came in and he said, hey, I've left my wallet at home, but I just live down the street and I really need some gas. He said, can I get some and then go get my wallet and I'll come back. I said, sure, but I'm going to get your tag number because I didn't know the guy. I mean, if James or Avery or Casey had come in and that'd be different. I can find them and, I didn't know this guy. And I said, sure, no problem. So he pumped his gas. I got his tag number and he left. Well, he never came back. So that night, I called my boss, the owner of the station and said, what do you want to do? And he said, well, let's go take out a warrant. So this was at I don't know, we closed at 9. So this was probably 10 o'clock by the time I got everything shut down and he got over to the station and we drove up town to take a warrant out on this guy. So we did. And then fast forward, I don't know how many years, but years later, I'm working at the pharmacy at this point, and my old boss comes in and he says, do you remember years ago you and I took out a warrant? And he couldn't remember what it was for. And so I told him the story. The guy had tried to buy a gun and he couldn't because that warrant came up for he'd driven off with $20 in gas or something. So anyway, that's my only real law enforcement story. But in that gas station we had some adventures too.
Well,
I mean,
go ahead.
I remember another law enforcement story at the gas station. There was a guy who would show up and use probably the only last payphone in existence to talk to somebody.
He claimed
on the
a
other end of the
girlfriend.
line. Girlfriend, I guess. Okay. But he would show up with like a sack full of quarters and would just sit there for hours and talk on the phone. But he'd always show up close to like closing time. So I remember Andrew's like manager who came in and like counted the tills and everything. She thought it was kind of odd that he was there. So she called the town police to have them come and check him out. And then we told her what he does, So as the cop is rolling into the parking lot, she goes running outside like she's calling off a hit, flailing her arms and everything, like screaming, no, 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 don't. Like she's trying to like prevent him from like running him over or something. Like that is how she ran out there. And this poor guy's just standing there talking on the phone, like, what is this crazy lady doing?
It was great. Once she banned Berry and James from that gas station. They would come and hang out, when I was working. And what did you guys do? You must have done some. Maybe she just got sick of your faces and she banned you for a week. What did anything happen?
Yeah, we was throwing those airplanes you could buy. That was like the paper airplanes that you put together, and we would throw them across the store to see who could get the plane to go the furthest. And
I don't know if it was the fact we were throwing those planes or the fact that you were standing at the register and I took a stack of like 15
we did that when nobody else was there.
And slammed those into the back of your head.
No. It was the planes because I think one time somebody almost took out the chip stand.
Somebody.
Man,
I wonder who.
You know who has like the world record airplane throwing distance? Bruce Lee.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you say Bruce Lee, I'm going to say prove it. Show me those facts.
No, I also want to point out that she got some free labor from me and you.
That's true. She so there was an elderly couple that would come and clean the store and restock and everything. I didn't have to do any of that, which was kind of cool. All I had to do was run the register and make the chili and the hot dogs, which was bad enough. But they were not going to be there. One of them had to have surgery or something. And so James and Berry for like 3 days stocked shelves for nothing. Just to hang out.
That's how we got back from being banned for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Oh, man, it was fun. This is kind of weird, but I saw her the other day, that manager. I saw her driving through town. I hadn't seen her in years and years, but I saw her and her husband. Fun fact, they sold me my first gun, so good folks.
Nice. No warrants or nothing on you either.
No warrants or nothing. One time the power went out in town. This is kind of a long story, but on a Saturday, and James and Berry have a cousin who's a friend of mine, and he happened to be there because he used to work for their other cousin. So their cousins, would stop by on Saturday mornings, and Sean was just there hanging out after him and Michael had got done with work that day, and the power had gone out. So the manager was like, "Hey, can y'all run this ice cream over to the owner's house because it's going to melt?" Because the power had been out all day. So we loaded up this ice cream in my green Nissan Sentra that we called the Hulk, and drove it over. We had to start it with a screwdriver, but that's another different story.
Yes.
Had to drive that over to my boss's house and save it. And then as soon as we got it all loaded into their freezer, the power came back on. So we had to take it back. But we got free ice cream. They gave us each like a pint of ice cream for that. So that was cool.
Nice.
Since everybody's telling other friend stories, like, we all have all these other friends or whatever. That's fine. I'll tell them too.
I don't have any other friends, just you guys.
Okay. Since we're telling stories about places we walked and places that we have gone to somewhat of an education, the college you guys actually end up finishing at used to have a certain channel that somebody in our group loved because it was called the Belly Dancing Channel.
Oh, yeah, that was weird. Like, Campus TV had a belly dancing channel. You remember that? I didn't live on campus, so I didn't get it.
But I just remember
somebody lived on campus.
Casey was like, "Guys, you guys check out this channel. It's just belly dancers."
I don't know. So I have vague memories of this. So it was a whole channel of belly dancers all the time.
Don't.
Well, it was like a fitness channel to like do in the dorm room, I think was what it was.
Okay, yeah.
But every time you would click on it, it would be just belly dancing.
I think most likely that was Casey's roommate, who we would refer to as slap, slap, slap. And that's all we need to say.
Turning up the TV to identify
that person. Yeah, turning up the TV.
Oh Lord.
Man, we'll have to tell some college stories someday. You know, there's some funny dorm room stories for sure.
I remember, yeah, we'll definitely have to share some college stories.
Definitely. I think we're running short of time tonight, but for sure we've got plenty because we were in college a long time. We've got plenty of stories.
We should have all had our doctorate by now. Yeah,
we should have,
but we didn't.
No, we're well short.
No, not even close.
We just took the slow route, you know.
Casey's the closest out of us.
I now have a master's degree, though. You know, that's something, I guess.
We all took the Van Wyler.
That's what 20 years of educational determination will do for you.
Well,
yep. See, I'm not very smart. I'm just stubborn, and so you know, just keep going forever. Eventually, they get sick of you showing up to school, and they let you graduate.
Well, that's how we.
I'm fairly certain that is what happened to me in my college career. I got an email that said, "Hey, come pick up your cap and gown. You graduate Saturday." I was like, "Cool."
Well, at least your degree was real. Casey's was interdisciplinary studies or something. They were so sick of him. They were just like, just make something up.
Just make a degree up, give it to this guy, and let's get him out of here.
He ain't going past that chemistry class with his pharmacy stuff. Come on.
Well,
he's not going to do it.
I think we found our topic for next time. This is going to be
college.
The college life.
I had some weird roommates. You know, well, two.
Did we tell the story about me or us going to watch Watchmen?
No, that will definitely be on the next episode.
Yeah.
Then there you go. I'll tell you what. Is that the way, Barry, are you talking about when we had to go to the concert?
Yes.
Okay, let's tell that one as a teaser for the next episode. So when we get to talking about our college exploits, we'll tell a lot of stories like this. But James Casey and I went to one college after several attempts at others. When the three of us finally got it worked out was when we were in the same place. That's when it finally clicked for us. We all had to be there. But one night, Avery had come over the hill to visit us, and we were going to go watch Watchmen, the movie Watchmen, when it came out. And before we could go, I had to do something for a music appreciation class and go watch a concert. And it was just I don't know if it was a recital of piano and singing or what, just something I had to do. I didn't really.
It was like almost like a full blown orchestra with like a violin, a piano, a bass. I mean,
well, that tells you what I only remember the incident. I don't remember anything that I was supposed to.
Well, yes, because I had to focus on what was happening on the stage because I did not really want to be involved in whatever was going around me.
Avery was not in his body at that time. He was projecting away so that he wasn't in the moment.
Because I felt so bad.
When we got there not late, but just about when it was about to start. So we could not find 4 seats together. So, you know.
Oh, okay. No, it was like this. We walk in, it was kind of packed. James goes, "Hey, look, guys, here's 3 seats." James, Casey, and Andrew went, pew. I was like, "Guys, there's not a 4th seat." And they go, "Well, go find a seat." So I walked down, and there was this woman, a seat, and another seat. So I sat next to the woman. I asked her, I said, "Is somebody sitting here?" She said, "No." I said, "Okay, do you mind if I sit down?" And she goes, "No." So I sat down. Well, this gentleman comes, and he asked to sit down next to me. I said, "Sure." He goes, "Okay." And so next thing I know is he's now conversing with the young lady next to me. They are talking backwards and forwards. So I guess, I go, "Well, I guess they are friends." So I asked the gentleman if he would want to switch seats. And he goes, "Oh, no, you're fine. You're good. Why don't you just stay right there and we will just, if you don't mind, we will just talk over top of you." I said, "Well, that's strange, but okay, sure." And they do this, and then the concert happens. There's like a little short intermission, so I get up and I walk and I talk to James and them, and I tell them about this odd thing I'm saying in between of. And
The odd thing you're sitting in between of was called a date.
well, yes,
Avery was.
I did not know this until after the whole thing. We have to leave, and I tell them to have a good night or whatever, and they go, "Oh, thanks. This is our first date." I just kind of go, "Oh, well, I'm sorry." And he goes, "Oh no, you good." So I don't think they made it as far as the other couples I went on first dates with. So I hope if they hear this that I was rooting for them.
What I love about that is that dude was not about to ask all 6'4" of Avery to move so he could sit next to his girl on their first date. That's hilarious.
Well, I offered, and that's why I felt like I offered. And if he said no, man, like if he said yeah, this is our date, I would say no, man, yeah, take the seat. I said on the end.
So from our perspective, sitting in the back, this girl was sitting down. This guy was about to sit down next to her. Avery flops down before he can get there. And now Avery's between these two for the whole rest of the concert.
Flops down. Avery tells me he's so smooth about, excuse me, is this seat taken? Do you mind if I sit down? Casey tells it like Avery jumped from the top turnbuckle to get into that seat.
I mugged the guy.
Avery throws him out of the way and swoops in there and sits down and is just like, "Hey, baby, how are you?"
I think this guy
You
was
want to go to Watchmen with me and my friends?
Avery's pretty spry. This guy was in the process of sitting down, and when he sit down, he noticed he was sitting on Avery's lap. He's like, "Whoa!" What happened?
No, the spyest thing I have done in my life would probably be almost jumping into Casey's bed of
his truck.
of the truck of his truck.
Now that was pretty impressive, and that will have to go on YouTube if I can find that video because that was amazing. That was also in the parking lot that Sport worked at.
I don't think you can put that on because it has firearms in it, and YouTube gets upset about guns.
There's no guns in the video of you jumping in the Casey's bed.
That's the CVS parking lot.
Yes,
I know. They weren't firing guns into the air in the CVS parking lot.
We attached it because it's on the Facebook page that when you see all these posts about come listen to the Horsemen, it's on that Facebook page, and we spliced it together of us shooting guns.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, you think I can't unsplice that video?
You can take care of that.
I wish you would just delete the video.
Never.
Nah, ain't happening.
Oh.
Well, we've given them a teaser for next time around when we tell some college stories, so I think we'll leave it there. Thank you again for listening, and we appreciate it. We want you to like, share, and subscribe to the podcast wherever you get podcasts. I think we're on all of the main podcast sites now, right?
We are carried by all of the major podcast providers.
So however you found this, you can subscribe to us on your favorite of those. We also have the YouTube channel. Casey, what's the YouTube channel?
It's Chinwag with the Horsemen is our YouTube channel name.
And Barry, what email can they reach us at?
Chinwag with the Horsemen at gmail.com.
All right. Drop us a line there. We'd love to have some questions, some topics you want to hear us drone on about. And and anytime now, I imagine eventually we will get into some repeated stories. I don't think we've done it yet, but you guys will get to experience what our wives experience, where they're just as hilarious to us as the day they happen. But
hey man, we've done it for decades, so we can keep doing it.
That's right. So if you get into some repeated stories and you don't like it, too bad. So
again, please just give us another topic to talk about. Just do that. Don't unsubscribe. Don't unshare us. Don't do that. Just give us another topic that we can beat into the ground.
We're good at beating things into the ground.
We sure are. For Chinwag with the Horsemen, I'm Andrew.
I'm Barry.
I'm James.
And I'm Casey.
Thanks for listening.